Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. With special thanks to our pal bank. ADT Taxis, Feed Me, Piglet's Pantry, Tiger, Leicester Garage Conversions, Pink Vehicle Leasing, Hologram, The Fox's Arms, Moyer Wade Interiors, and our chosen charity, Memphis UK. We bring you the fans' views on the match each week, and your views matter to us. Join the fans debate each match with us. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV.
Evening all, welcome to Leicester Fan TV for a special guest show. Tonight I'll be joined by no other than the man himself, Lee Judges. We'll be talking about this man, Stan Kroenke, Mikel Arteta, Leicester and Arsenal, Brendan Rodgers, the takeover at Arsenal, will it happen? We're not sure. The ESL and much more. Let's get a few good evenings in. James Cameron, evening pal, how are you? Carmen, hello. Daz, evening pal, how are you? Maz, hello. Yeah boy, hello. Mark Harrison, hiya mate, yes, good. So guys, we want your views. Please like and share this stream and subscribe to Leicester Fan TV if you're new. So let's get the man himself in, Mr. Lee Judges.
We're doing, Jack. You all right?
Yeah, good, pal. How are you?
A better picture than that, I have to say.
I just love that picture. It's good to see you angry more, isn't it? Because that's what people expect from you, isn't it? So it's good. So how are you, Lee? You good?
Yeah, all good, all good. Nervous about tomorrow, if I'll be honest. You know what I mean? It's a massive game for us tomorrow. So yeah, you know, one of those things are, you know, when you just want it over and done with, whatever happens, you just want it over and done with, because I'm not too sure what's going to happen. So just get it over and done with.
Yeah. I think from an Arsenal perspective, it wasn't the greatest of games last time, was it, Lee, in the Europa League last Thursday? So you'd be expecting better at the Emirates, but then again, your home form's quite poor this season, isn't it?
Yeah, awful. And you're right. I don't think it can be much worse than last Thursday. It was absolutely a horror show, absolutely pathetic performance from team selection to everybody. I think, like, you know, we were set up to be doomed, you know, and I don't know how, and I really don't know how we got away with a 2-1 defeat. I really don't. You know, we could have actually lost by 4 or 5. So, but we'll take that. We'll take it. We're got the away goal, and as you guys know, in the Europe this season, that away goal can be important, like, you know. So we'll have to wait and see.
I think Leicester's time in the Europa League, you know, it wasn't the best, was it? Bad timing and all that. But we're not going to use injuries as an excuse. Obviously, Slavia Praha are a very difficult side, aren't they, Lee?
Yeah,
you guys battered them, innit?
Do you know what? I looked at that and I thought they've beaten yourselves, they've beaten Rangers, but they was always the second leg back was away from home, so they knew what they had to do. They could come in there and frustrate and defend, and they were very good at doing that at the Emirates as well. Like, but different when it was at home. And once we scored the first goal, I always thought we'd be all right, you know. So because those ties were turned around, I think if Leicester would have played them first at home, I think you would have been better off. I know it sounds silly, but I just think that it would have been, like, you know. So so hopefully we get the job done this time around. But I'm not a betting man, and if I was a betting man, I wouldn't put a lot of money on it.
It's very up and down as an Arsenal fan, isn't it? Especially with the ownership and stuff like that. You don't know what to expect from Arsenal, do you? You know, they're full of surprises. You don't know what's going to be pulled out the bag. No,
you know. So exactly, it's been a roller coaster. If I'll be honest, for a few years now, it's been a roller coaster. It just hasn't been quite right, you know, at the Arsenal. Too many defeats against teams that you expect to beat. But I would hope that we can turn it around. I think it's, you know, like, you guys are going to experience it next season in the Champions League, so hopefully we can as well. Like, we experienced the Europa League together, let's experience the Champions League together.
Hopefully. Lee, Fee says, do you remember a director / vice chairman called Peter Malinga? He was the son of my grandfather and half sister.
Do you remember a director vice chairman called Peter Malina? I don't. Was it obviously at Arsenal, like, yeah? So
I think so.
the name rings a bell, but I can't say that I do, like, you know what I mean? So
it's crazy. Lee, let's talk about Leicester and Arsenal. So Leicester are top 4 at the minute. Obviously, you guys beat us, which was a shame when Youri Tielemans scored. We weren't expecting the backlash. That was probably your best game, really, wasn't it?
Do you know what? Unbelievably, that's probably one of our best performances. If I'll be honest, I think it was one of our best performances, and like it's the one we couldn't go to. The last few, it's been painful going to Leicester the last few seasons. So that was disappointing that we weren't there. But yeah, and that's the trouble with Arsenal. You caught us on a good day that day. We played. You scored very early, didn't you, from a Xhaka mistake, but from that moment on, we played really, really well. So yeah, it was a good game, like, you know.
Lee, what would you do if King Power brought Arsenal?
I don't think if you come fourth, I think whoever comes fourth still goes into the Champions League, as far as I know. If Arsenal win the Europa League, I don't think it affects it. So hopefully Leicester we won't knock Leicester out. It'd be nice if that is the case. I don't want Spurs getting there and then us knocking them out, but I wouldn't want to knock Leicester out. You guys deserve it, and I hope you keep in third.
Yeah, you guys hate Spurs, so does Leicester. So we've got something.
There's no one that likes them. Who does like them? I don't think anybody likes them. I really don't. I don't mean that nasty. It's their fans. They're so arrogant. They just think they're better than everybody else, and they're not. And
exactly.
I see loads of teams, and they turn around and say no one likes them. And I'm very surprised that Leicester don't. Maybe something to do with that cup final all those years back in the 60s, but who knows, So
this first time we beat you at the long away from home, isn't it? We're at 1971, was it? Last time Leicester beat Arsenal away from home.
Really? Well, that shows another record that that people are smashing. And Everton fans, cheering me on because they've done it as well for the first time in ages. I'll tell you this now, I'll be honest. When I look at Leicester, even when you was won the title, I think we was the only team that you didn't beat. So we've had a little bit of a thing over you, particularly at Highbury and also at the Emirates. But in saying that, Leicester are a different animal now to what they were. So let's say in the Highbury days, you know what I mean? They're a completely different animal now,
I think, we've been unlucky at the Emirates quite a few times. We've led quite a few times and then just fell off in the second half. Because Arsenal were a second half team, weren't they, in the last 20 minutes?
I'll tell you what, I don't know, I'm going to be really honest with you here. The time you won the championship, that was a lot. Obviously, your last defeat in the league that day. It was a last-minute goal. It must have kick in the teeth because I think you played well that day, and we got it in the last minute. And to go then and to have that kick in the teeth and go on and do what you've done was fantastic. And you have to, don't get me wrong. I was an absolute Leicester supporter that season because it was out you and Spurs, wasn't it? So all credit to you guys. Then you come back and done really well. And then I think the following season, if I'm correct, it was the 4-3 game when we was 1-0 up with Lacazette. I think Lacazette's debut scored in a minute, and that was a topsy-turvy game. Could have gone anyway. And then the last one was a Mesut Ozil. Do you remember when Mesut Ozil?
Before half time.
So you was on that. That was a fantastic game. And of course, this season, you pinched our pockets, if I'll be honest. But that's what good teams do. So well, congratulations for beating us at the Emirates.
No, thanks. It's very much appreciated. It's about time we did it. Going there as an away fan and then coming away with nothing when performing well.
I honestly, I felt I felt for you on a couple of occasions because I think really you haven't deserved that. To be fair. And I think in that game, so the 2-1 one, I thought we was very fortunate that day, like, you know, very fortunate.
Yeah, because Welbeck come on and scored, and wasn't he injured previously? I said to
I
my
think,
brother,
yeah,
I say he's going to
remember
score.
that, like, I
It's just
obviously
weird.
do remember it, but like the atmosphere in the Emirates, I think it was, if my memory is correct, it was Valentine's Day. It was as well. Like, do you know what I mean? And Danny Welbeck jumped into the crowd and everything. It was unbelievable. And I thought that that would knock the stuffing out of Leicester a little bit, and we would have, the momentum was with Arsenal then, if I'll be honest. And well, as you say, the rest is history, you know. So and deservedly so. You know, to not lose a game from then to the end of the season was fantastic.
Yeah, because you guys were the only team to do the double overs that season, wasn't you? Vardy scored then as well at the King Power to then lose.
Was it 5-3 or something? I think I know
5-2.
5-2. Yeah,
5-2.
I remember Sanchez got a hat trick. I think did we go 1-0 up and then 2-1 down?
Yeah, Vardy scored and then Walcott scored for you guys. And
Walcott it was a Sanchez show, wasn't it? Like, you know, so who'd have thought, if you'd have walked from that game there, you'd have thought that Leicester would have gone on and won it from there. You know, I remember saying that, you know, we've got to win these sort of games. You know, but you know, unbelievable.
That's just crazy, Lee. Right, Lee. First ever Arsenal game you attended as a fan, and which player made you support Arsenal at the time?
I've been asked this question so many times, and I don't know. And the answer is I don't know, because back in the day when I used to go, like, my mum's side were all Spurs, and my dad's side of the family were all Arsenal. So what would happen is that my granddad would take us to Spurs one week and go and watch players like Martin Chivers and players like that, and then the following week we'd go to Arsenal, John Radford, and those sort of players. Like, they were my sort of players that I remember, like centre forwards. I used to like the forwards, but it was just saying about Highbury, and you probably don't know this, or you do know it, but Highbury, like, never had the pylon floodlights. It had them on the roof. I just thought that was something different. Something about Highbury that was different. So that's how I started going. My brother went the other way and become a Spurs fan, and eventually left the country because he couldn't take it no more. And and that's how it was. But my first game, I can't really remember. I just remember going in at the clock. Like, my dad was a clock end supporter, like, always, and I always used to go, "Oh, Dad, I want to go in the North Bank. Want to go in the North Bank." But he'd always say to me, "When you're old enough, you can go in the North Bank." And then when I was old enough, I started going in the North Bank, and that was it. Like, yeah.
Lee, do you remember this saying from a Tottenham fan? Remember that Spurs fan on the telly saying that year, saying Arsenal will fall away and Leicester are a nothing club, then they would warm up finishing third? In a
two-horse race, fantastic, wasn't it? Like, you know, so
I bet it was good from an Arsenal point of view, though.
Couldn't happen to a better team, like, you know. So listen, that's what they're like, and that's why you don't like them. Like, I think you've got to respect who's there, and I'm like, listen, I was delighted when Leicester won that. Don't get me wrong, like, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, good to beat them at the old White Hart Lane, though.
Always, you know. It was 1-0 you beat him up there. I remember that guy. It was a header from a central defender. I don't know who.
Robert Hoof.
Hoof. There you go. 1-0. I remember it, like, you know. Yeah. Cheering as well.
I remember the Chelsea game as well when they were 2-0 up, and then Chelsea come back with a Hazard goal.
Yes, that was a great day, I know, wasn't it? Like, you know, so unbelievable.
Will you be cheering on Leicester in the FA Cup final?
What do you reckon? You know,
well, you guys hate Chelsea.
Every neutral's got to be cheering on Leicester, like, you know. As far as I'm concerned, no one likes Chelsea, and listen, I like Leicester. I've got a little soft spot for them, so why not? You know what I mean?
She'll get you a shirt.
Huh?
She'll get you a shirt.
I don't know about that, but I've got blue on today, especially for it. So,
that's good.
Like, you know, of course, Leicester. I want Leicester to win the cup, like, you know. So, and I've been cheering them on since a few rounds in. I've wanted them to win, like, you know.
Yeah. Who's your favourite player of all time, Lee, and in the current squad?
Favourite player of all time? Listen, been some great Arsenal players. Patrick Vieira is one of them, but my favourite Arsenal player ever is Charlie Nicholas. Weren't the greatest Arsenal player, but he was the one believe it or not, had the long hair and the perm at the back, and he was the reason I started. I'd left school, I'd got released by a certain team, and I started. He was the reason that I started going to home and away Arsenal games for a little while. I got back into football again later on, but I just loved him. You know what I mean? So he was my favourite Arsenal player. Current player now, I ain't got one, and I mean that. I have not got one in this current squad, and that's sad to say. If I would say it would probably be Saka. One of the young guns. Martinelli I would say probably Martinelli, if I'll be honest.
There's some great young players, aren't there, Lee? What's come through the youth at Arsenal?
Fantastic young players. Fantastic. I know, Leicester got some good players. I know that, but fantastic players. Young players. Martinelli, Smith Rowe, and Saka. Yeah. Not Tony Adams. Listen, Tony Adams. I can say this now. When I've met Tony Adams, it was he was the most nervous player of the ex-Arsenal players that I felt when I was meeting him. I was very, very nervous, and when I met him, it was great. But it was because he was Mr. Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? Like, but there was an aura. There's an aura about him. Very much an aura about him.
Lee, what about Jamie Vardy? He could have signed for Arsenal for £35 million after they'd won the title. Would you have loved him at Arsenal?
Would I have liked him at Arsenal? No, because we got Aubameyang in the end, if I'll be honest. But I'm a big fan of Jamie Vardy because obviously coming through non-league football and doing what he's doing, I think he's just on the wane a little bit now. Like, if I'll be honest, he's just catching up with him a little bit. But in saying that, what's a player he's been for you? Like, you know what I mean? So, and listen. He turned down Arsenal, and fair play to him, really. So, I got no regrets about it either way, if I'll be honest. So, I've got regrets about it because every bloody time he plays against us, he scores. But other than that, no regrets.
David Gavin puts Lee, hi Lee, Irish Fox here. How do you rate Chippy Brady?
Well, one of the best players I've ever seen. My brother plays golf with him out in Thailand, and I've never met Liam Brady. One of the things, and like my brother obviously knows him, but when I put in an all-time 11, he's in there. What a wonderful effort! What a wonderful effort! And when I went to the Arsenal with my dad used to say to me, "Just watch him, because he was that good." Like, absolutely brilliant player, absolutely.
How many current Arsenal players would get into the Leicester squad, Lee?
That's a tough one. That is not many. Not many. Tierney would probably.
Which players would you choose?
That's a tough one, really. Tierney, you've got a good midfield as well, haven't you? You've got some good players in midfield. One or two.
How many you want?
I think Tierney would get in there.
Yeah.
Schmeichel, very, very good goalkeeper. I'm just trying to think. Got to have another one. I've got to have another one from somewhere. Probably Saka would get in as well.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Not many. That just shows you, doesn't it? Like, I mean, that's why you're in the top four.
You weren't saying that years ago, though, would you?
No, I wouldn't be saying that years ago. But that's, listen, I'm going to say this now. Brendan Rodgers called it many years ago. I would have liked him at Arsenal. I'd done an interview before everything there. And I said, I would have loved him at Arsenal. Good coach, and done wonders.
Yeah. What about Lasagna Gate, Lee?
Oh, fantastic that was, wasn't it? So what happened was Spurs were playing West Ham and they needed to win that game.
Yeah.
And I think Arsenal played. I'm not 100% sure. We was at home to somebody. I can't remember who it was, but we won comfortably. And Spurs obviously went to the hotel with and got all poisoned by the lasagna, and they all went down and ended up losing to West Ham. So well done to the chef and the Marriott Hotel. Always go to the Marriott Hotel. You've got to go to the Marriott Hotel. and it's a £10 dearer. Remember, pay the £10 because they cost Spurs, so it's always worth it for £10.
Blue Van Man asked, Lee, would you take James Maddison at Arsenal?
Oh yeah. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a very, very good player, and this is the thing about football clubs now, and this is where Leicester do it so well. Played, I think, was at Coventry and Norwich when he sometimes it's good to take a punt from people down there in the younger parts, of the leagues, and down. And I think he's done fantastically well. Very, very good. Needs to get his act together because there's some really top young players in that position, and he could miss out if he don't get his act together. So hopefully he will.
Yeah. Next one, Lee. Let's talk about the ESL. Obviously, I know we've had a conversation about this on Twitter. What are your thoughts with it not happening and Arsenal obviously wanting to go for it at first?
I'm going to say this now. I'm glad it's not gone on because it was a shambolic thing to do. But I will say this, and Arsenal were in no position to say no because when you talk about an elite club, we ain't been elite for 10 years, and I've just emphasised that when you just turn around and said how many Arsenal players are getting to the Leicester team. So I think if we'd have actually said no, other teams could have took our place. As simple as that, And Spurs, what they were doing at the table, I never know. Obviously, I thought, they must have, because they've never been elite. So if Arsenal and Spurs, for instance, would have said no, and they could have gone then to Newcastle or Aston Villa, Everton, yourselves, and I think that you would have said yes. But morally, it wasn't the right thing to do. You have a look at the league at the moment, and you've got some big teams in there that are not going to be playing in the Champions League. Now, what I will say about this is that when they do when they started the Premier League, they virtually guarantees you not to be relegated. Arsenal, Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, they're never going to get relegated. Virtually not going to happen.
Yeah.
But what they couldn't guarantee was to get into the Champions League because 6 don't go into 4. So so that's why it's all come about. So they've got the gravy train of the Premier League and all the mod cons that go with that, but they wanted more. They wanted to be guaranteed a European football. Now, when you look at it, that means that the likes of yourselves and say West Ham, who I'd love West Ham to get in it as well, make that 4th spot. I don't think they will, but I'd love it if they would. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Like the reason that Leicester and West Ham are in the 4th and 5th place or 3rd and all that is because they bloody deserve to be there. You know what I mean? By hard work, good coaching, and good players. Why take it away from them? And then, what would happen then? The Madisons of this world and all that. They're never going to play in the Champions League, so they're going to say, "Well, I've got to leave a team like Leicester to go there," or Declan Rice at West Ham. Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair, and I'm glad it was squashed. And what it has done now, it's put a lot of pressure on those owners. All of a sudden, Kroenke, for instance, now is under pressure. Pressure for the first time because he showed his hand. He showed his hand that he's greedy. It's all about money. And let's hope now, I think it can be very beneficial for Arsenal fans because if he doesn't invest, the fans are going to get onto him and say, well, why are you not investing? So sell then. And then, obviously, if he does sell, it could be a good thing as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about the ownership. Obviously, the Spotify bloke wants to take over Arsenal. 1.8 billion, which is big money, isn't it? But will Kroenke sell? Which obviously he's come out and said he wouldn't. What about you, Lee? What are your thoughts on it?
He's not going to listen. Say if Arsenal is worth 1.8 billion. Right, say that's what it's actually worth. He ain't going to sell for that. You've got to, it's like if you're in a nice house and you don't really want to move, you're not going to move, are you? Unless someone comes in and gives you an offer that you can't refuse. So it's going to take a little bit more than that. And for me, I don't think that's enough for him to sell. Why would he want to sell anyway? Like, do you know what I mean? It's making him money every year. So I think you're going to have to go a little bit higher than that to get him, like, you know. And the fact, the only good thing about what I do like about it is if he does go, at least we're going to get in an owner that cares, someone that's there every game, like your guys are, like, do you know what I mean? And you can tell that they're interested. Whether they were Leicester supporters in the first place, we'll probably say that they weren't. But when they've come in, they've invested, and, you know, unfortunately the accident and everything like that, but they're still in part of it, and they care about Leicester Football Club. I see our owner. I don't think. Well, will he watch the game tomorrow? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting here nervous as anything. Like, you know, from a fan's point of view, is he nervous about it? And, you know, it could help him get a lot of money and everything. Like, you know, so. Who knows? So I think it's important that you get someone that cares. Now look, Abramovich was never a Chelsea fan. You know what I mean? He tried to buy Arsenal, he tried to buy Spurs. Thank God he didn't buy Spurs. But he now cares about Chelsea Football Club because he's there. Well, you know, I know he can't get there at the moment, but when he's there every game, and I think that's important. It's important as a fan. You want to see. Look, the Hill Woods were in at heart Arsenal, and listen, we didn't have great times at Arsenal under the Hill Woods. We had fantastic times, but we did have dark days. But they cared about the football club, so you would accept that.
Do you think Arsenal fans will protest like Manchester United did against their American owners, Lee?
Well, we had our protest, and it went very, very well against Everton, you know. And the good thing about it, and I say this now, proud of every one of each and every Arsenal fan that went, because there was no trouble. It got a little bit boisterous with a bit of drink at the end, but it was all in all, it was a peaceful process. Now, the Manchester United one was far from that, but look at the publicity it got. I don't agree with what they'd done, but protesting and everything there was correct. But I don't agree with, you know, beating up police officers and smashing into the stadium. It's certainly something that I wouldn't want to do. I wouldn't do it at the Emirates, but every right to protest. Yeah, every right. And rightly so.
Yeah. Let's talk about this man, Lee. Mikel Arteta. How do you think he's done it, Arsenal? He went in or an out? Let's get your verdict.
They call me a flip-flop, you know what I mean? Because 1 minute I'm in and 1 minute I'm out. And that's what the way it's been with his performances. I don't mind trying to get a sponsorship with Havana's, but it's not happening at the moment. Like, but I just don't know with him. Like, you know, how can you defend him after what he'd done on last Thursday? What I will say this about Mikel Arteta, he's a very, very lucky man. I said this before, I'll say it again. He's got all his hair. He's good looking. He's been a professional footballer.
That's probably the best thing about him.
Yeah, you can imagine. He's a millionaire. He's got a nice looking wife. You know what I mean? Very, very lucky is our Mikel. And also, he was all going wrong. There he is. Good evening, Mikel. You're a lucky man. And it was going all wrong, disastrously wrong on Thursday, and then Foyth got injured. You know what I mean? And changed the complex of the game. So I think he's very, very lucky. Very, very lucky manager. Inexperienced, 100%. You know. And listen, but I remember, and I'll use Leicester as an example. Leicester were in, I won't say dire straits, but weren't in a great position. I remember, like, you know, watching Leicester at Wembley, 0-0, I think it was, and Vardy come on as a substitute for a penalty and missed a penalty, you know, and ended up losing 1-0. And you think, oh, what a state you was in at that time. Brendan Rodgers come in, bang, look at you now. So, you know, he's had more than enough time to sort things out. More than enough. We weren't in that shambolic state, you know what I mean? But, you know, within, I wouldn't say instant, but within a certain amount of time, Brendan Rodgers got it right. Bosh, you know, look at you now. So I do feel that, you know, Mikel is under the pump, and rightly so.
Yeah. Let's talk about Brendan Rodgers. Obviously, a great manager at Leicester. He's changed the blueprint. He's got a fantastic training ground. The owners are allowing him to spend, and they're backing him in it. Arsenal was linked with him when Mr. Good Evening got sacked. And then Leicester offered him a new contract, and you landed up with Mikel Arteta. So what do you think to Brendan Rodgers?
Showing that. Listen, I'll tell you look about Brendan Rodgers, and this is how I see it. And people can be whatever they want about this. He won trophies at Celtic, and people turn around and go, "Oh yeah, but he won trophies at Celtic." Anybody wins trophies at Celtic. When you're the best team in the country,
yeah,
you've got to get that team up for every game. Now, when you play, I know it's not the same, but when you're playing teams that are playing against Celtic, every single team that they played were up for it more than what they would be against any other side. And he still won games of football, went on runs. So you have to have some sort of managerial skill to be able to get your players up for every single game. He'd done that at Celtic, and I don't think he gets the praise that he deserves for that. He's then come to Leicester after winning the Premier League. I don't think will ever be done again. That's no disrespect to Leicester, but it's but my God, he's getting you close to it. And I quality. You would have qualified for the Champions League last season if it weren't for COVID, because when you come back, there was games thick and fast, and Leicester didn't have a squad strong enough, and then that was the thing. But ultimately, this season you're going to do it, and I think it's a marvellous achievement. Get underrated and a very, very good coach.
Who would you say your most overrated player is at Arsenal and most underrated, Lee?
Overrated?
Yeah.
Cool.
Who you feel the fans put more interest in to think that he's actually better than what he actually is? Or
that's a difficult question. I think like the one at the moment is, I'm going to say this now, be a little bit controversial, is Thomas Partey. I think everybody goes mad about him, and I ain't been that impressed, if I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he's okay, but like he's no Patrick Vieira. Let me tell you this. So I would say like he's getting hyped more than what he should be. Underrated. That's a tough one as well. Like, you know what I mean? I would say underrated, probably. You know what I mean? Might be underrated. Probably Lacazette a little bit, I suppose. But that's a tough one. Tierney is underrated, maybe, but he's a big fan's favourite. Let me tell you that. So that's a difficult one. I think like they're all not pretty. They're pretty average players, if I'll be honest. Like, you know.
Were you glad to see the back of Mesut Ozil?
Next question. Yeah, unfortunately, great player. Do you know what? One of the most naturally talented players I've ever seen. Just didn't do it enough. Didn't do it enough with the ability he had. With the ability he had, he should have done a lot more. A lot more.
I think he's a decent player, though, isn't it, Mesut Ozil? I just think did he get on with the management? Was he one of them who were a bit thingy in the changing room?
Listen, if you play Leicester now, you'd get the best out of him because you've got a workman-like team around him and it's quality. You know what I mean? Arsenal, he never really fitted in at Arsenal, and I know that's a bad thing to say, but he was never really. How can I say? Never had the right players around him at the right time. You know what I mean? When he did, he was on his wane. If I'll be basically honest, like, you know. But for me, as I say, you know what I mean. All the ability in the world, some of the things that he could do, but just didn't do it enough, Jack. Just didn't do it enough.
Yeah. What about transfer targets then, Lee? Where do you feel you need to strengthen, and who do you think's going to leave in the summer if you had to get rid of anybody?
Listen, do you know, like, somebody hit me with a stat yesterday, I thought the day before, whenever, that Arsenal are the lowest team from midfield in goals, 2. Yeah. Along with Sheffield United. That tells you everything that you need. So we need to get players in midfield that are going to score goals. Now, people used to criticise Aaron Ramsey, you know what I mean, like this and that, but he scored goals from midfield. And it's not easy to get a goal-scoring midfielder. There's not that many of them about. So, you know, I would say that we've got to strengthen in there. I feel that we probably need another central defender, but if, you know, Saliba comes back and does what he's doing, I think that'd be interesting to see if we need that. And obviously we need a fullback, a quality right back. You got any of them?
We ain't having Pereira for a start, so hands off.
It's top class, isn't it? Top class.
Lee, what about Martinez? Fantastic goalkeeper, has kept Villa in a lot of games. Did you feel it was a right move getting rid of him, or would you prefer him over Bird Leno?
Wrong decision. Nothing to do with Leno. The fact that what I didn't like, and I think it sends out a wrong message, and this is how I believe it, because maybe I'm old school because of whatever. You always got to earn the right to get into the team. When you're in the team, you make sure that you keep that shirt. You're actually keeping it. You actually got that shirt. People go, "That's my shirt." It's never your shirt. You're renting it. But the way to keep it is to play well every week, and he was doing that. He waited for his chance, waited, got the opportunity, and then he took it. And then because it was easier to sell him than Leno.
Yeah,
they made that decision. You know what I mean? It weren't nothing to do with footballing reasons, because he was playing fantastically well. I just think it sent out a wrong message, and for me, wasn't the right decision. But that's nothing against Leno or anything like that. I just didn't think it was right.
Yeah. Talking about the Ray Parlour thing, Lee, was he bang out of order in the comments that he said about Arsenal Fan TV?
Yeah. I know it was just Arsenal Fan TV. It was more like, fan channels as well. Like, I mean, what I think, listen, he's got his opinion. I've spoken to Ray on a few occasions. He's actually said to me, "Lee, you're brilliant at what you do, but get off the channel." You know what I mean? Like, he actually said that to me. But when he says like, "Oh, other teams are taking the mick in that," like, well, what's he doing on TalkSport? Because they've done that for 6 years of Daily Arsenal and all things. I don't listen to TalkSport, I'll be honest, because of what, it was just a completely clickbait to have a dig at Arsenal fans and trying to get them to react. So, Ray was, he's on that channel. It's all right, them taking the mickey and things like that. The fact of the matter is now, these channels, whether it be TalkSport, Sky and all that, I'll be honest, I don't want to hear from Jermaine Genius about Arsenal games and all that, like, you know what I mean? Because I feel my pain. I want to hear from Arsenal fans, and before I was on Arsenal Fan TV, I would listen to the fans at what they were saying. I still do, and I'd rather hear from an Arsenal fan, and a sensible one, by the way, than someone like Jermaine Genius or someone like that, or if Leicester have lost, it's fine. You can hear from Gary Lineker if you want, because he's a Leicester fan, or Ian Wright. I love listening to Ian Wright. But I don't want to hear. You don't want to hear from Alan Smith. Alan Smith, of course, played for Leicester, so we'll leave that one. We'll go. You don't want to hear from Ray Parlour what he thinks about Leicester. You'd rather hear it from you. You know what I mean? Because you fit, and that's the fact. That's what it's like now. The fans have got a voice now. I think that it could be used better, if I'll be honest. But listen, the fan cams, and now even more so, Jack, the watch-alongs are producing, mega views. You know what I mean? Like when they first said to me, "We're going to do these watch-alongs, we want you to get you involved," and all that, I said, "I don't know, I ain't going to. Who's going to want to watch that? You know what I mean? Rather watch the film." You know what I mean? It ain't going to work. It ain't going to take off. FA Cup final, 1.5 million viewers. You know what I mean? Like, watch the watch along for that game. It's incredible. So it's there. You know what I mean? The fans have a voice, and and I think it's fantastic. Now, old school fans don't like it so much, but listen, it's out there. Social media's out there. Football's changed. Football's changed on the pitch, it's on the terraces. It's changed, and it's changing for the fans. And listen, it's great. It's great that Arsenal fans, Leicester fans, dare I say it, Spurs fans, Manchester United fans, have all got a say now. And I think it's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah. I think that's what makes Arsenal Fan TV very powerful, isn't it? They're passionate fans about their football club, and these pundits or ex-players, they just slag them off, don't they, to make it look like it's their fault the club's losing games, or it's their fault the club's the way it is, when it's not really, is it? The fans are just there to pay the money, be passionate about the club and support them through the thick and thin. But these pundits don't seem to look at it that way, do they?
Yeah, and this is the thing that really winds me up when people turn around and go, "You want Arsenal to lose because you get more money, right?" Right. I've never wanted. I don't care about views. I don't care about anything. I want Arsenal to win games of football, like you do for Leicester. Yes. If Arsenal lose, you're going to get more views. That's acceptable. But if Arsenal go out of the FA Cup, like we did in the 4th round, well, where's the 5th round, 6th round, semi-final and final? That's 4 or 5 games that you're not getting views for. I'm not getting paid for, or whatever. So, the more Arsenal are successful, the better it is. Now Arsenal won the highest paid watch along, the highest viewing figures for a watch along was Arsenal versus Chelsea in the FA Cup final. We won it. So it's all there. And I know you guys do it as well. It ain't just about winning and losing. There's other things on the channel, great content and things like that. It doesn't. We're doing this tonight. Now, it doesn't matter if Arsenal or Leicester have won or lost.
That's it. You just talk.
So people don't see that. They don't see the content of other things that is being put in.
No.
And I will say that Robbie did lose it a little bit because it was getting too big and probably looking at views more than that. He's now realised that it's more about content as well, and that's how it is, and. You're all the fan cams, of course, are, because even like the watch-alongs, they're raw because it's emotions of a game, So, and listen, if any fan wants, Arsenal if I ever want Arsenal to lose, then I will never ever go on the fan cam again. I will never support Arsenal again. Yes, there's games like Newcastle on Sunday that if you lose, it ain't the end of the world like it is, But trust me, come the first game of the season, if we lost it the first game of the season, I'll be going my nuts, and that's how it is, So, and fans are like that. Fans should be fans, you know what I mean? Like fickle as anything, win one week, your team's great, you know what I mean? You lose the next week, they're right, and that's how it should be.
Yeah. Rest in peace to Claude from Arsenal Fan TV, of course. It was a shame. Great bloke as well. Met him on quite a few occasions, Lee. I bet you guys have got some great memories of him.
Got some great. Do you want a story or like,
Yeah, go on.
Listen, I had great time at the club. We used to have a few drinks and everything like that. And during the summer, it was a bad time for Claude, a little bit like, So I used to look out for him, and I said, "Look, I'm having a barbecue. A few friends round. Come up, like for the barbecue, like So he come out and he's got himself and he's had a few beers, and we're all sitting around the table, all the girls and all that, and one of us turned around and said, "So, what do you think of Jack and Danny then, Claude?" And he went, "Who's he play for?" And that's what he was, just absolutely mad on football, just more important, he didn't get the joke. He was mad about football. I'll tell you what he was with Claude, and people don't realise this. Very, very funny fella. Very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very, very serious. But when you had a great sense of humour, very, very quick up there with a chat and all that. Unfortunately, social media weren't good for him, and that was a thing, and it was a shame. But listen, one of the reasons that I got on AFTV, one of the reasons that I watched it was Claude. Always the go-to guy to go because I felt his pain, and we had a good friendship and everything like that, and very, very sad, very sad.
Yeah, great bloke. I think Claude, a very spoken fan, wasn't he, Lee? Like you said on Arsenal Fan TV, he were always passionate about his club, and he always said how it was. He never sat there and backed down to how Arsenal was playing, or if they were losing games, he was straight up about it. And that's what you like in a supporter, isn't it?
Oh,
not someone who's going to lie behind the truth.
100%. He was Arsenal through and through, and I can tell you this now, it was all about Arsenal. It would hurt him and hurt him bad, And I remember coming out of the Europa League final, and we'd had a few beers that day, and he was moaning, that was it. He had his opinion and he wouldn't change it, and fair play to him. That's what he was like, and really passionate. I'll tell you what he would do. He'd have time for every fan cam. Like if you was doing one, he'd make the effort. He'd make the effort for loads of people, which I felt you know, went under the radar a little bit with him, like, you know, but just a generally all round guy. Loved his football, and yeah, just a real shame, really, like, yeah.
Lee, quick question: what's your favourite music or taste?
Do you know what? I like all sorts of music. Like, if I'll be honest, anything, you know, in there, very much Oasis, I love, but U2 was a favourite back in the day. But I like, you know, I like all sorts of music. So yeah, anything really, anything going, like, you know.
A couple more questions. Player of the season from an Arsenal perspective. If you had to pick one player, Saka.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
How would you rate your season, Lee? Out of 10.
Well, as my teacher used to say when on my school reports, could do better, and I think that's about right. Could do a lot better. Poor. 10th in the league, Jack. You know what I mean? Come on. You know what I mean? That is not good enough for Arsenal, like, you know.
Who's going to finish higher next season, Leicester or Arsenal?
Ooh. Do you know what? Depends what happens. Like, Champions League might take a little bit out of you guys next season, like, you know. So we'll have to wait and see. I am going to say I'm going to say Arsenal.
Is that your honest opinion?
I just think maybe the Champions League, you know what I mean, might take its toll on you. That's all, the only reason.
Yeah. Everyone wanted to know, Lee, what's Ty like in person?
Do you know what, Ty, right? I'm going to say this now, is the nicest fella you could ever wish to meet. Delusional, yes. I could never ever support Arsenal like he supports it, and I don't know how he watches it, what he sees. I do not know what he sees, because he is so positive about the football club. But I can tell you this now, up for a laugh, whether it's his own expense or not, he don't care. He's just a genuinely lovely fella, and a pleasure to know. I mean that sincerely. Like, would I go to the Arsenal with him and be friends with him before AFTV? No. Like, but once getting to know him from AFTV,
yeah,
an absolute diamond of a fella. I've got so much time for him, like, you know what I mean. Funny guy, I tell you, like, you know what I mean. I absolutely adore him, you know. But I could not sit next to him for a game, you know, because we've had a few arguments on the things because he's so delusional. But that's the way he is. But he's just yeah. I've got so much time for him, like, you know. If you ever get to meet him, anybody there, he's a pleasure. He's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, he obviously goes to all the women's games as well, doesn't he? Even though he tells the referee.
Yeah,
every
Arsenal game, women's, he knows the youth teams and all that. Like, it's unbelievable, and he's got as much passion for the women. I mean, the women's team than he has the first team, like, you know.
Yeah. Lee, talking about this season, where will you finish in the end?
About where we are now, 9th, 10th. Yeah, where we are now.
That's good. Now let's get on to score predictions for Leicester versus Newcastle and Arsenal's game versus West Brom at the weekend, Lee. You go first.
I think you'll beat Newcastle. I honestly think you'll beat Newcastle. Is that Newcastle? Is it?
Leicester.
3-0.
3-0. And Arsenal?
We are. If I believe it, we're at home to West Brom, aren't we? Like, you know, so
yeah, you are. Yeah.
Do you know what? It depends on what happens on Thursday. It really does. You know, if we win on Thursday, we'll probably lose on Sunday. So I'll say a draw, 1-1.
I'm going to go 3-0 to Leicester against Newcastle, and West Brom and Arsenal. Arsenal's poor run of form at home this season. So is Leicester's, to be honest, Lee.
Yeah, it hasn't been great, is it? Yeah, you know, but like, come on, you need it more than Newcastle. And I think West Brom probably need it more than Arsenal, if I'll be fair. Unbelievable. But Arsenal got to win a home game somewhere along the line, haven't they? Let's just hope it's Thursday. That's all I'm worried about. Do you know what? I haven't given Sunday a thought on whatsoever. I only just found out today that it was Sunday at 7 o'clock. You know, I didn't even know that, like, you know. So I'm just focused on Thursday. But you know, you're a neutral, so you're gonna rule with your head. So what are you going?
I'm gonna go 1-1.
Yeah, same as I. So I've influenced you, not Jack. I've influenced you.
Yeah, you've influenced me. I'm not an Arsenal fan though. It all says it here. Knowledge. Right then, Lee. Where can everyone find you, mate?
I'll see you find me, Lee Mark Judges, on Twitter and also on Instagram as well, like, you know. So I'm on there. Do the same old Arsenal on a Monday night if any Arsenal fans want to pop in and have a look at that. That's every Monday. And of course, you know, if you're bored and you want to watch the Arsenal game on tomorrow night, we're on AFTV doing a watch along. So feel free to come and have a look at us in pain.
Right, Lee, it's been a pleasure having you on, mate. It's been
an
chat.
Absolute pleasure, like, no, pleasure.
I enjoyed it. Cheers, Lee.
No worries. Take care, yeah. And good luck for the rest of the season and the FA Cup final as well.
Yeah, you too. Cheers, buddy. That was Lee from Arsenal Fan TV, a great chap. Love his influences and his positivity about Arsenal, of course, like every other fan, like you do. So, yeah, guys, this is the end of the show. We'll be back tomorrow. Locks will be at 7, after 7:15 or 7:30 for the preview show with Newcastle United. We'll have the watch along on Friday at 7:30 against Newcastle, of course. So catch me, Jamie, Phil, and Tom and Locks for that. And also the fans as well who also want to come on. And Jamie will be back on Sunday. And maybe I'll have a Manchester United fans preview the show on Saturday. Keep out for details on Leicester Fan TV. So this is Jack from Leicester Fan TV saying good night and all the best.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. With special thanks to our pals at ADT Taxis, Feed Me, Piglet's Pantry, Tiger, Leicester Garage Conversions, Pink Vehicle Leasing, Hologram, The Fox's Arms, Moyer Wade Interiors, and our chosen charity, Memphis UK. We bring you the fans' views on the match each week, and your views matter to us. Join the fans' debate each match with us. Follow us at Leicester Fan TV.